Thank you for tuning in to this Westwood at Work talk. The concept of these videos are simple. Find people at Westwood who are living out their faith and work every day in hopes that you'll be able to find wisdom for your own work. Eric Anderson is the president of Superior Lawn and Landscape and Superior Outdoor Expressions, and he and his family have worshiped at Westwood since 2000. Enjoy the talk.
Thank you so much, and thanks for the opportunity Brian's given me here to speak, and hopefully it's meaningful to you all. Ordinary or extraordinary. Those are two words that could describe my professional career at any moment throughout it. God certainly has had a plan for my life all the way through until this day, and I know He has a plan also for my future. But in order to start, to know where I'm at today, I'll tell you how I got here. My wife, Jody, would describe my childhood as living with the Cleavers. We were very organized. We had holiday dinners where everybody even had name tags on every table setting. I went to church every Sunday and every Wednesday. We were the first to arrive and the last to leave. We did well in school, and I got in trouble with my brothers. I got two younger brothers once in a while. My dad instilled in me at an early age a good work ethic. He always said, if anything is worth doing well, it's worth doing right. But there were many times when I was growing up that I didn't think anything was worth doing sometimes. We attended every church workday and every opportunity to serve, and I'm sure my dad was really impressed with our willingness to go, but it was really for the donuts and Kool-Aid during the breaks. Through it all, I mowed lawns and did work around our house, and soon my neighbors noticed my work, and soon were inviting me to do it on their lawns as well. And little did I know, my little business was born at that time. I later attended the University of Minnesota for 2 years. I always enjoyed working with numbers. The business or an accounting degree just seemed natural for what I was doing. I wanted to attend the Carlson Business School of Management. During my first 2 years of college, though, I started to begin to give back to the youth group and to the church that I attended for so long and had grown up in. And through that, it just became known that I liked doing what I was doing in the church and in the youth group, and it just was natural to give back. Adults in my life then began to affirm what I was doing at church, that I was good with kids, that I enjoyed and had fun with them, and that what I had to say was making an impact in their lives. Pretty soon, in between my sophomore and junior year in college, I had gone on a missions trip to Mexico with the church youth group, and came back to announce, I'm sure to my mom and dad's nervous laughter, probably when I told them, Mom and Dad, I want to become a youth pastor. I want to change schools, change majors, and it's the right thing to do. But by the grace of God and in the transition between the University of Minnesota and Bethel College went smoothly. I graduated from Bethel College with a youth ministry degree. I continued to mow lawns and grow with customers through the whole time. I also worked at a grocery store. I helped with the youth group. Everything was going great. Helping out with my mowing clients soon became my full-time job, and I was finding success and really fulfillment in what I was doing, not only with the work and creating things with my hands, but also working with friends that I invited on days that I needed help. I quickly hired my two brothers. I had two younger brothers with me, and Superior Lawn and Landscape was born. In the years to follow, my brothers found their own passions, and I ended up hiring new employees. During this period, I got married to my wife, Jody, and many of our family members were wondering, when was I going to start my ministry? When was I going to start affecting people in the church? Because that just seemed to be the natural place to talk about God, to make differences in people's lives. And I'm sure at that point, nobody was thinking, I could do that outside of church. I certainly wasn't at that time. I was kind of at a fork in the road. Do I do the ministry, or do I go and pursue this business career? My wife, Jody, was very supportive in whatever I was going to choose. But with peace in my heart, I went forward and continued in the business path. I remember back to a personality test that I took that in all of my assessments, they came back, be a farmer, work with the land, work with your hands. I mean, I was a stubborn firstborn. How do they know? They don't know me. I wanted to work with a youth group. But little did they know, they were partially right. My business grew, and so did my family. We had more employees than we did kids. And God had a perfect plan for my life that I didn't see up until this point. I was bringing together all the aspects of what I like to do in my life. I had a business where I got to work with the numbers. I got to work with my hands and create things. And I had a youth group, but I just had to pay them. Romans 1:16 is my life verse. It says, I'm not ashamed of the gospel, for it is the power of God for salvation to all who believe, to the Jew first and also to the Greek. For in it, the invisible attributes, the eternal power and divine nature can be clearly seen, being understood by that which has been made, so that man is without excuse. That completely dovetails well right into what I do as a profession, that we get to rearrange and create with what God has created to give enjoyment to the people that we do it for. I'm sure they don't, when we leave, go, that was divine, and that was just perfect. But the palettes of plants and the trees and the flowers that we get to work with are just amazing, the variety of hundreds and hundreds of plants that are out there. Micah 6:8 is the verse that I use. It's my boots on the ground verse. I not only use it at work, but I use it at home with my boys. The Israelites were saying, how do we act? What do we do? And the Lord responds with saying that you are to do justly, that you are to love mercy, and that you are to walk humbly with your God. I use these three principles not only with my employees, but also with my customers in very practical ways, I hope. I'll tell you about three of my employees first, and then we'll talk about how I do it with my customers. Justly. When I was just first starting out, I had a new employee that came up from Mankato. His name was Alan. He worked for me for 8 years. He had no father. He was brought up by his mother. He worked hard. He had a brother and sister that he loved, and he helped take care of like he was their father. He didn't believe in God, and he made his decisions in the beginning by how am I going to get to the weekend and what am I going to do on the weekend? That was his main focus. He had worked for bosses before that had never had the same principles as we do as a company, and it was, he had been in the situations where what can I get, what can I take, and where's the party on the weekend? That's even what his previous bosses had been instilling in him. So to see somebody that was completely different, that did justly, that did operate fairly with customers, give them fair prices and quality work, that gave me the platform to speak into his life and to make changes. He later became a Christian after he left work after the 8 years, but he came back to tell me that because of who I was, that gave me the platform for him to listen to me, and he really took into account, there's a youth ministry in town called Treehouse, and their principle is that you're lovable, capable, worthwhile, and that you're loved without strings. And he came back to say that was instrumental in his changing his view on the world and his view on God. Mercy. Sometimes, for me, it's one of the gifts and one things that I really, really like to do. I like to be generous and give second and third chances. Josh came to me. He's still working with me today. But he came from a divorced home with a dad. He lived with his dad, but only because he had to. He had nowhere else to go. He was an alcoholic with 2 kids and a broken relationship with their mother. And his priorities were obviously messed up. He came in for an interview. He said that I'm willing to work hard, but I can't drive. I've had a few DUIs, and I can't help you in that manner. But if you would, I would work hard for you. I would. I need money to pay my tickets and to reinstate my license, and I'll do my very best for you. And I don't know about you guys, but if you had an employee that came to you and said, you know, these are my problems, these are my qualities that aren't good, but I'm trying to change, I mean, do you take a chance on that guy? Luckily I did, because Josh has become a solid employee. He is one that has restored his relationship with his father. He lives not with him anymore, but his two kids love to see Grandpa and to see that relationship restored. But again, because I gave him that chance and gave him a few second chances after he came on board, he wasn't perfect. That again gave us the platform to speak into his life and to give him the love of Christ that he probably wouldn't have gotten anywhere else. To walk humbly, an employee, Jeff, who's still currently also working for us, he came to us because he had been going through a divorce of his own. He was a business owner. He lost everything through that. Didn't know where else to turn, but he knew through friendships that we had made throughout the years with him, because we were in the same industry, came to us because he knew he wanted to work for a company that did things, I guess, well, and that we would listen. And I think that's part of being humble, is just listening to your employees as well. But through it all, he's gone through hard times. He's come and gone twice with us, thinking that potentially, you know, that he'd like to do something else or that the grass is greener. And I always welcome him back. I take into consideration what Joel always says here, is that, you know, you welcome them, you bless them when they come, and you bless them when they go. And that's something that we've really tried to instill. And I've got one employee who's come and gone 5 times. So it really is kind of an open door. It allows them to experiment and investigate all that's out there. To do justly with our customers is very practical, I think. We are to give them fair and honest product. We give them honest information. We don't oversell them. We give them what they need. And even when we have the opportunity potentially to charge quite a bit more because they are uneducated or don't know, we give them what's fair, I believe, in the industry. We also follow through. We try to follow through with our emails and phone calls. I think that's part of being justly. I mean, Brian emailed me like 5 times, and I finally got back to him about this. But no, just kidding. But doing that, I think, is part of it. And completing the job without cutting corners in our industry is something that is, I think, great. It provides a quality product that the customer will appreciate who we are and will also then obviously, hopefully, tell others about us. To love mercy with our customers is unusual, probably for most in business, because we're out there typically to win and to gain contracts and to gain jobs. Allowing mercy in that is difficult. But we always find ways to improve our projects when we're out there. We always, you listen to the customer along the way and go, man, I wish I could have gotten to that, or wish I could have trimmed that tree, or, you know, it might look funny if we do this and not that. Well, if it's that trimming of the tree or trimming of some shrubs, you know, mulching an extra tree, we do that for free. It's that little bit of extra that we like to do. We also, in the mercy part with our customers, the equipment and all that we have is not ours, it's God's. It's God's tools. So I give it freely to my employees. I allow them to take home mowers and chainsaws and trucks and whatever they need to either do it for their family member, a mom, a dad, a cousin. Sometimes they might even be out there making potentially money on their own. But I trust them with what they have because God trusts me with what He has given me, and I give it to them freely. So that offering them that mercy and being able to have that opportunity to surprise somebody with a project done that they didn't expect. Mercy also with our customers. Sometimes the projects go long, and things happen in our customers' lives. A death of a family member. We've had once. Sometimes they've even lost their job partway through the project if the project's a month long that they didn't see coming. So at the end, that collection of money can be a little awkward. We as a company could say, the contract says, but we have the opportunity to say, pay when you can. that's okay. I trust you. You know, when you get back on your feet, this will obviously still be there, but we trust you. Pay us when you can. To walk humbly with our God is difficult sometimes in this world because with customers, we don't want to offend anybody. I mean, with Romans 1:16, it says, "For I am not ashamed." But walking humbly means, I think, more actions than words in what we do. Many times for us, we get to, we have a lawn care division where we get to touch people's lives every week. Every week we're back there. And some of the customers run inside because they don't want to talk, or that's just not who they are. And some of them kind of run outside because they've got nobody else to talk to, and they just want to have a conversation with my guys. So my guys build up this relationship with the people that are out there. And it's become a joy to see Christmas cards and presents come in just to these guys. They say, give this, to Adam and Josh. Give this to whoever. I appreciate their work. So doing that's just incredible to build those relationships. Sometimes we get the opportunity, because we've created that relationship, to know of something that's gone wrong in their lives or something that has happened where we can say, can I pray for you? I mean, that's only happened for me a handful of times, but that's an opportunity that they may have not had to have somebody pray over them before. I guess there's so many stories over the 200 plus employees that we've had over the 20 years plus of business that I've been doing this. Each employee has had their own story, from drug addiction to relational problems. But no matter how long they're with us, we have the opportunity to touch their lives and to make a difference. When we act justly and we love mercy and we walk humbly with our God, we have the opportunity to take the ordinary and make it become extraordinary. I love what I do. I love creating things outside. I love being outside. I especially love the mountains. We don't have any here in Minnesota, but I love the mountains because it gives honor and it gives example of how powerful God is. I love creating and working with people. I love enriching our customers' lives through what we build, and also through the lives of our employees that we get to create relationships with. I'm proud that we get to teach our employees new skills that they can take, and after projects are done, it gives them something to Facebook and to be proud of. But looking back all the way, God has had a plan for my life and developing it along the way, and I'm excited also for what the future holds. My wife's grandmother, in closing, was a little disappointed in me not becoming a full-time pastor, but I believe that God has given me opportunity to speak into guys' lives that they would never have had the opportunity to hear the gospel any other way. So thank you very much for listening.